Okay, you lovely lot, so welcome to the beautiful Monk Hole fishery where it's rig of the month time. Now, a little bit different to what we've been through with Jamie's in that I like to do things sort of overshotted with no floats on if I can help it. It's one of them, obviously, having a float on, you know, you're reading the signs of fish in your peg, but when you get a lot there, and obviously rules allow, because some fisheries, you know, you've got to have a float on this, that and the other, but a lot of the venues that we fish, the likes of Partridge and Blundell's and Heronbrook, it's pretty much a free-for-all. You don't need a float on, so it's basically overshotting so that the fish are hooking themselves. Now, they do say that, like, every day's a school day in fishing. I've shown the main man, Jay, what I've been using for, like, my overshotting rigs. He's come along and he's like, Andrew, what the heck is that? I'm like, what? That's how I overshot. And I've changed to his way, and my word, the difference. So it's like, it's a proper, honestly, it's the first time I've done it today, folks. I ain't going to lie to you. And what a difference. I just thought, well, that's how you do it, innit? I'll come on to it in a sec. But basically, I'm going to talk through the jiggers first. So jigger fishing. Okay, I've not really done loads of it, but where you've obviously got to use a float, but you still need that bulk down your line to hook the fish, jigger fishing is where it's at. So basically what we've got is 0.16 mainline on pretty much everything. Now, it's important when you're fishing the jigger that you either leave them stored on your top kits, or you have them round them like little spoolie thing, what they call it, them EVA,
Foamy spools.
That's it, them foamy spools. Because if you put them on a winder, in fact I've got one here, I'm going to demonstrate. If you put one on a winder, which, you know, it's one of them, you see what happens, you get that kink in your line. Now obviously what happens is that your jigger float can't go through the kink in your line, so what you've got to do is smooth them out. You know, it's not a massive problem, but we want to get fishing straight away, folks, don't we? We don't want to be smoothing line out. So either leave it on your top kit or put it on one of them windy, hooky things. What are they? Them foamy things, that's it. So what we've got at the top is a little float stop, little rubber float stop that you can move nice and easy on your line. And that obviously dictates where the maximum where your fishing is. Now, bearing in mind shallow fishing, folks, they can be at any depth pretty much. Obviously, the deeper the water, it's one of them, that's where it's all about finding them. But majority of the time, especially on F1 venues like this or hide venues, they're going to be between, what we're going to say, 6 inches and probably 3 foot, something like that. So it's a case of finding that depth and just getting straight down to them. So we've just got one of these jiggery floats on. I don't even know if they're like proper names for them, they're just like jigger floats. Now, I'm going to show you, I've actually made myself, I've done some homemade ones. So these ones, they're weighted at the bottom, so your float's nice and stationary, but they don't take as much shot. These in particular take 5 number 8s, because obviously it's not overshotted, it's just going to sink to that float and you're still going to be able to see the float. So it's well within the rules of the fishery if you can't use overshotted floats. But the ones I've made, you can put like 7 or 8 number 8s on, and again, it's still not sinking, so I'll show you them in a sec. And then hook length wise, I suppose the shallower you're fishing, the shorter your hook length. This is a 4-inch one for this one, because I'm fishing that a little bit deeper. We're probably at what, 2.5 foot, something like that there. The fish have been all over the place really. I've had a bit of a go, and you know, we're not getting them at any fixed depth. But it's just that nature of just getting your hook bait to fall at the same speed as your loose feed pretty much. Yeah, occasionally slap it over, you know, make a bit of noise, this, that and the other, but most of your bites are going to come as you're lowering it down nice and slow. So that's the first jigger. That's the main one that, you know, most folk could be using. Whereas now, got my own made one on the go, haven't we? We've got an own made one. Now, dead easy to do. All I've done, it's a map dibber with a wire stem through. I've shoved that wire stem through, and then I've got, I'm going to say it's like a 1.5mm hollow bristle off an old float, chopped that up, and I've just shoved it through body, and I folks, just shoved it through, we don't care, do we? And then it just slides just like a jigger. But because there's no weight there, as you can see, when Rich zooms in, you can get more shots down. So it's like more of an instant bolt rig, if you like. You know, on that other one, the fish will touch it, and then you'll see like your line dinking like that, where they've rejected that bait. Whereas obviously if you can fish heavier, they don't have a chance to. Once they've stuck that bait in, they can't spit it out because they're hooked. Again, notice the shorter hook length as well, so 2 inches on this one because it's real positive. Set around the same depth and we've got exactly the same line on, but it's worth experimenting in that. I say I've not done loads of like the jigger fishing, but when I have done, this is, to be honest, this has worked better than the traditional one, so it's worth experimenting with that. Now, what we're going to come on to next is the overshotted or bolt rigs, if you like. Basically no float on, and they make such a difference when you've got a lot of fish in your peg. And you know a silly weight's going to win it. You can't compete with this style of fishing, but I've been doing it wrong for the last few years, as Jamie's just pointed out. So what I've been doing, let me go on to this one. This is what I've just had a go on. He's like, Andy, just give it a go, give it a go, give it a go. What I had shots down here before. This is how I've always done this, this sort of like overshotted rig with no float on. I've had a line of like 6 to 8 number 8s. Back in the day it was a BB, but then I thought, oh, it's gone refined. We'll just put shots or stocks on, if you like, just up the line. And he's like, just come over, give it a look, and like, no, what's he doing? This is the way now, apparently. I didn't even know about this. So we've got, obviously, the deeper you're fishing, the more shots you have down the line. So on this one, it's set at what, 2 foot? A little bit over 2 foot, maybe. If we had them blooming inch increments on my top kits, I'd be able to tell you, wouldn't I? And we've got 3 number 8s on there. So you can treat it the same way as a normal rig, you can slap it over, but by just slapping it over once, lifting it back up so we see that shot and then lowering it down, it's ridiculous. I've had a go before and I wasn't really getting any bites on the other rigs. I've had a go on this, I've had like 3 and 3 tucks. Can't believe it. So again, main line, 0.16 main line. We've got a 4-inch hook length on, 18 hooks on them all. I've not mentioned that, sorry. 18 hooks, and every one of me maggots I'm going to side hook. So it's mainly sort of F1s and carp pellets, but maggots, catch everything swimming. Lovely days fishing on maggots. So that's that rig. And then obviously when they're like proper having it, we've got an even shallower one, which has just got 2 number 8s, and that's set at what, 16 inches, something like that. Again, exactly the same line, 0.16, 0.12 hook length, and 18 hooks. But the difference with having it like that rather than in a boat, which, yeah, they were spooking off, it's just been ridiculous. I don't know whether it's still because of the conditions again. It's like proper cold. When they're having it proper, you know, that the little tiny bulk, it 100% does work. But I suppose it's sort of like refined bolt rigs. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. But when you don't need a float, honestly, folks, you can't beat that style of fishing. It's so quick, so efficient. You don't pretty much tangle at all, and you're just straight in business. It's just in splosh, fish on. So yeah, so them's my rigs. As I say, you're learning all the time. I didn't know about some of them, but yeah, the jigger, I've quite enjoyed that jigger fishing. But I love the style that Jamie's gone through you with his rigs, you know, finding out where the fish are. But when you've got them at that certain depth and they're having it, you've got to try either the jigging or the bolt rigs, the overshotting rigs. Check them out, folks. We love you. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.